In this video, we're going to go through a simple and effective routine that you can do each day if you're someone who struggles with tight calves. Now, it's worth noting that a major contributing factor to the experience of tight calves is actually wearing footwear that disrupts the natural function of our feet and ankles. And so transitioning to more natural footwear is going to be a critical strategy for long-term results. And we do have a full video that takes you through all of the details and some important tips for that process. But the purpose of this video is to help bring some much needed strength, mobility, and control into the area, which can help alleviate some discomfort and improve function as you do go through that footwear transition process. So let's get stuck in. Okay, first up, we've got calf release. Now, a mini roller from your Soulmate is perfect for this if you've got one. Otherwise, a rolling pin or just any foam roller will do the job. And we are starting pretty much anywhere on the calf and just rolling down the length of the calf and back up. And really just exploring one line like that. And then you can change the angle of, it's really the rotation of your hip, but you'll see your foot go in or out, and that will give you a different spot on the calf. So really just spend the first minute here exploring up and down like that and changing the rotation or changing the position so that you hit the sort of outside of your calf and the inner side as well. Now, most people will find that the outer side is a bit more tender. So what you're doing with this process is trying to find those extra tender spots and then looking to work on those with a bit more focus. So what you can do for the second minute on this one side is then find a spot that feels a bit more tender than the rest, looking for a sort of hurts so good kind of feeling, not something that is sort of making you grit your teeth and hold your breath, anything like that. You want to be able to breathe through it, and then you can even do some little movements of your ankle nice and slowly, where you're coming up and down like that. And then you could spend about 20 seconds on one spot like that and then change the position and go again, up and down, and you could even move your ankle in a bit of a circle like that. All the while you're focusing on long, slow, deep breathing. And once you've done 2 minutes on one side, you can change to the other side. And you're just going to go repeat that same process, up and down. Now, if you're using a foam roller, it might be enough intensity, or whatever tool you're using, it might be enough intensity just with the weight of your leg like this. But if you feel like you need a little more intensity, then you can use the other leg on top like that to add a bit of extra weight. And then from there, it's the exact same process, just rolling up and down, exploring and seeking out those spots. Trying to breathe through it. And once you've done 1 minute of sort of exploring around, you can find those spots that feel like they need some more attention and go through that same process. So what this is doing is creating a window of opportunity where we're actually decreasing some of that muscular tension in the calf. This by itself is not going to be enough to really make a long-term difference in calf tightness, but it can do an amazing job of reducing some of the symptoms, just alleviating some of that tightness, which can help you get more out of the following exercises that we're about to do. So it's just a great way to prepare the area and to relax the muscles somewhat, as long as you're using the right amount of pressure for you, which is why I mentioned not to go so hard that you're tensing up or holding your breath, because that can actually have the opposite effect where things tense up even more. So you don't want to just be sort of getting a light tickle, but you also don't want to be going so hard that everything's tensing up. So it's important to maintain that balance, and the amount of pressure you use will have to change over time as you build up tolerance to that pressure. So once you've done 2 minutes on both sides, you can move on to the exercises. All right, next up, we're just getting some gentle motion and circulation going in the calf and just the whole leg area with these ankle pumps. So pointing one toe down, the other toe lifting all the way up as far as possible, and then swapping. So just, you'll feel your calf contract on the way down and your sort of shin muscles contract on the way up. And you don't have to rush through this, but you also don't necessarily have to go too slow. It's really just about bringing some, like I said, some motion and circulation into the area. Especially great to do straight after those calf releases to get things moving. And also a great way to prepare for some of the other more strength and mobility based exercises that we're about to do. So up, down, up, down. Once you've done a minute, you can move on to the next exercise. All right, next up, we're doing a compass reach. So this is a balance exercise. If you really struggle with standing on one leg, you could use a dowel or a broomstick for balance here. But the idea is we're reaching as far forward as we can with our free leg like this. That's north direction, and then going out to the east direction, south, and then west is all the way behind like this. So you might be wondering how this helps with tight calves, and the focus that you want to be having is reducing how much of this toe activation that you're getting while you're balancing. So especially if you're sort of clawing your toes like this, that is actually activating a lot of these muscles in the leg that do that action, which can overwork them and contribute to that feeling of tightness. So as you're balancing, you're trying to relax the toes, obviously while remaining steady. And this is going to force your hip stabilizers to do more of that job, which is really what they should be doing. So over time, you can just start with small taps like that. And over time, you can increase how far you're going. After 1 minute on one side, you can change to the other side. So nice and slow and controlled. You're not trying to speed through this, but do pay attention to where you're feeling this. So if you're feeling a lot of this in the calves, then it's probably a sign that your feet and your hips aren't doing the job that they should be doing. And the more you focus on relaxing these little toes, planting the big toe down here, then you should feel more of your foot muscles working and also your hip muscles. So obviously, when we go on the other side, you can reverse the direction that you're going, and just remembering to go behind your body like that. And over time, as I said, increasing the distance that you're moving as your balance and strength and mobility improves. So after 1 minute on each side, you can move on. Okay, next up, we're going to do a wall calf raise. So most people will be familiar with just a standard calf raise like this and using the wall for balance. And the idea with this is that you stand as far back away from the wall as you can so that your body remains straight and your heels can reach the ground. So that is just going to put you in a position of dorsiflexion, which some may feel is a bit of a stretch through the calf, especially if you're someone with the tight calves. And from here, you're then doing a calf raise. So up and down like that. So it might seem counterintuitive to work the calves if you've got tight calves, but often that feeling of tightness is actually related to some level of weakness in the area, and strengthening through a full range of motion, or through a large range of motion, is actually a great way to relieve the feelings of tightness, especially in day-to-day activities. So it's not just about strengthening here, it's about strengthening through that range of ankle movement. And so over time, might be over a period of weeks or months, you can get further and further away from the wall and continue doing the same thing. And you could even go up to a single leg calf raise, which you might have to regress the distance and start again. But there's a lot of ways that you can progress that same movement, whichever level you're working at, going for 1 minute for this routine before moving on. Okay, last up, we're finishing with a classic calf stretch. So I'm using the Soulmate here. If you don't have one, then you can just use a thick rolled up towel. Should be enough to give you this elevation on the forefoot, which then you are stepping forward with the free leg and keeping this stance leg straight. So that's the key. Keep that straight. And the further you step this leg forward, the more of a stretch that you'll get in the back leg, as long as you're not sort of bending it like this, okay? So from there, you could also rotate your body side to side to hit different angles. And over time, as I said, you can bring this leg further forward to increase the stretch, or you can try and increase the elevation. So if you've got something at home that can do that easily, then go ahead. The Soulmate is handy because of the ability to stack it like that. That's a really simple way to increase the elevation of the forefoot. You can see the difference there. Keeping the heel on the ground and going through the same process. So 1 minute on one side, change to the other side, and repeat. And again, with this, we want to focus on long, slow, deep breathing and just trying to relax the area. You're not trying to aim for a really intense stretch, like on a 0 to 10 rating scale, you're not really aiming for above a 5. About a 3 to 5 gentle stretch is good. Going for, as I said, a minute if you can. If it's a bit too uncomfortable, going for 30 seconds at first is fine. Whichever level you're working at, you can always increase over time. But if you do have time as well, it's good to do a couple of sets of this, but that doesn't fit into your 10-minute routine. So for the purpose of this routine, 1 minute on either side to sort of give you that final stretch on the calves. It's a great thing to do after all of those other exercises that we've just done to wrap things up. And that will wrap up your routine for today. Thanks for watching. I hope your calves feel a bit looser, and remember to stick out this routine regularly to really get those long-term results, along with that transition to natural footwear. And if you're enjoying these videos and getting value out of them, please do like and subscribe. That helps support us. And we do put videos out every week. And if you're looking for more structured programs and community support from TFC practitioners and other people on the same journey towards more foot and movement freedom, then you can check out our Explorer membership. All the details are in the link in the description below.